Aaron Rodgers coming out and setting a new standard. And you're probably saying, like, well, this new standard's been set for a while here. Like, we knew about this for a really long time. Like, what do you mean a new standard? Well, it's kind of come out what he or how he holds other people accountable. Diana Russini was there. We'll get into more Diana Russini reporting a little bit later on in this episode. But something that I thoroughly enjoyed was this tweet, where she said, I spoke to multiple Jets players and coaches about the impact of Aaron Rodgers. The standard has been raised. The little details are significant to Rodgers. Everyone is being held accountable in meetings and on the field. Rodgers has a lot of say. He's all in. Trust is building. And some of the things that, like, the more we got a little bit more details on what each of those things mean, but focusing on the little things, that's what winning teams have to do. Over the last few years, or after the last long while, it felt like the Jets have been so bad at the little, small details. And that stuff matters. And maybe, especially in like the Adam Gase days, they had so many problems that some of the, minor things, probably not as much of a big deal. But when you are trying to win a championship, that is the difference. Those little tiny tweaks could be the differences between a win in a game or a loss. And if you're playing in January or dare I say February, that stuff absolutely matters. And, just some little things like Aaron Rodgers spoke about, finishing each rep. That was one of the advice that he gave to the young guys, is finishing each rep, because at this point, it's not really contact. But if you're going 100% of the time, all the time, and, with these, these little drills, like, that's why these guys are so good. And that's why I'm glad that Aaron Rodgers is here. Not just because he's going to help the team win, but again, seeing greatness up close and the preparation that goes in to get them to that point, it's going to be nice for that to rub off on the other quarterbacks and the rest of the roster. The quarterback is your leader, whether you want to admit it or not, right? Like, you could have CJ Mosley's a captain. Quinnen Williams, is a leader on this team. The Jets have leaders. And even some more veteran guys like CJ Uzomah is a leader on this Jets team and on the offensive side of the football. The quarterback's leading you into battle. And what they say goes. And if he's commanding this amount of respect and commanding this much attention to the details, that, to me, is the best part. Making sure that everything is done right. And also working things out with Nathaniel Hackett. Not to the point where it's like, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers running the show and Nathaniel Hackett's not really doing anything. But collaborating and working together. And I think that's something that Mike LaFleur didn't really have because, he was kind of inexperienced, was they didn't have that collaborative effort. It was, this is what we're going to do. I'm up here teaching it. You're there listening. It wasn't this kind of back and forth. And it feels like there's an open line of communication with Rodgers. And granted, he's the veteran and he's earned that right. And, so maybe some of these other guys didn't necessarily earn that right yet. But I'll take that even as just a positive in what will likely be an upgrade from Mike LaFleur to Nathaniel Hackett. Is that the effort is going to be a little bit more collaborative, and he's there to, make sure that everything is held up to a standard. I love, and we'll get into some other quotes from what was a wild day of OTAs yesterday. Just crazy drama 2 days into it. Gotta love it. But going back to CJ Uzomah, I really liked this one quote in particular, which what stands out, the bullet point that stood out to me from the original Diana Russini tweet was, everyone is being held accountable in meetings and on the field. On day one, Monday, the defense was doing significantly better than the offense. And paraphrasing it, CJ Uzomah said that they got to get their shit together. That's what Rodgers basically said calmly this morning. He's like, we got to get our shit together. We got to go out there. We got to have a good practice. And guess what? They did. The offense looked really good today. Or yesterday. Sorry, by the time you're listening to this, yesterday. which, again, we'll get into some of those storylines in a little bit here when we get into the full OTA, but standard's been raised. It's no longer like, I don't know, some B team, some, young coaching staff, young players. They're still learning on the fly. They don't really have to worry about winning yet. It's about taking that progress. That part is over, long gone. And Jet fans have been in that part for a long time, unfortunately. Pretty much since they tore it down after 2016, which, I mean, that team deserved to get blow up. It was toxic in the end. But in 2017, that's what it was. It was, it was still a relatively young coaching staff. Todd Bowles was going into his third year as a head coach, and they had a veteran in Josh McCown, but they tore that thing down to the studs, and then they went with the youngster in 2018, and then they brought in Adam Gase, and had a young quarterback there, and then they broke that down, and then drafted Zach Wilson in the second round. So kind of started over again, and that part's done. That part is over with. It's time to start winning football games, which is what we've been saying all off season long, and ever since the season came to a close, was that the job for the 2023 Jets is to win football games. And with the type of leadership, at least that Aaron Rodgers has shown, they're going to be a prepared team. There's no BS. It's no, we didn't know where we're going on this play, or the receiver ran the wrong route and the wide receiver and the quarterback weren't on the same page. That stuff's out the window. Oh, I didn't know my blocking assignment. The guard didn't know the blocking assignment. That's over. That's done with. That does not fly anymore with Aaron Rodgers. And to me, is there pressure involved with that? Yes, but it is absolutely time for the pressure to come, right? Like, again, enough of just living in that mediocrity or below mediocrity even. But yeah, there's pressure, but I love it. He's all in. The trust is building, and yeah, good stuff.